My name is Eunice Magwambo. I am a media and communication professional. I also venture into data visualization and data journalism. I train media and journalist professionals on how to use data for storytelling and also how to design data as data visualizations. A data story is a story that has been well researched. It's a data that has insights and figures that correlate with the findings that a journalist wants to bring out in a story. So, a data story is a story that is well researched with data, facts and figures, and has supporting narration from research that the journalist is trying to bring out.
Which is the most difficult data story you have encountered?
The most difficult data story I've encountered is on the strike, the doctor strike that had currently taken place last year. I was trying to do a story and correlate the strikes to the number of deaths that happen in hospital, to show that when the strikes are high, we can have increased number of either ailments or increased number of deaths in hospital. So I was trying to show that correlation, and I could not find this data, number one, because I first needed to get to the hospitals because this was a new idea that I was introducing, and tried to see what are the deaths records in hospital during the period of strike. So this has been the most difficult data, not that it is completely not there, but because it's new. Yeah. So data can be hard to find if it's new. Data can also be hard to find if it's being protected by either government bodies or people in power. So that in itself is also a story, like why are they protecting the data? Because data should be accessible for journalists to carry out stories. For journalists who are out of school and will want to access this, it's normally easier for us to work with organization bodies such as MESHA and other ones that we have used to access the journalists, because it's also at the end that most universities haven't already accepted that data journalist is a future trend. So they have also not incorporated it in the curriculum. So most of the students who are still coming out of university, they are still going into the system or the workplace that doesn't have data journalism incorporated. So in that sense, how we are reaching these students or how we are reaching the journalists themselves is through the organization. When they have requested or put in a request for training, that is when we come in, and normally we come in through bodies such as MESHA, as I've mentioned, because we don't stand as an entity. But even as an entity, we can still come in, myself and my colleagues, to still train. We are accessible, we can be found in our various pages, and we can be reached out for trainings anywhere.
Is data journalism a boring subject? No,
it's not boring. In fact, if anything, it's interesting, because you can imagine backing up data with what someone said. That makes the story richer. So it makes it interesting to learn that whatever I have said can actually be backed up with data. So data is very interesting. It's not boring at all. In our current times, we are having people like comedians being journalists. There is so many aspects that goes into journalism, especially the ethical aspects that are not carried forward for our current times. What is leading our current times is the economical flourishness. Like how can we succeed economically when we have a newsroom? So can we bring in an influencer? The influencer has the numbers. You as a graduate, you have no numbers. You are not known. All you have is your training. So how can you put an organization in a place where they can earn economically with your training? So that's the battle that journalists face, and ethically it is wrong, because most of these influencers, we have seen many of them get into trouble or get their the organizations into trouble because of what they say, how they misrepresent, how they misinform, and all this is because they have not gotten training for journalism. So to get the training does not only come with influence or fame, but it comes with the ethical use of your training as a journalist to represent a brand and the organization.
What is a truth meter in data journalism, and how can one apply it?
A truth meter is a graphic element that can be used for journalists who are doing stories, especially on fact-checking and verification. So once a journalist has found out that they can use a story to fact-check, they can use a truth meter to identify, is the story true, false, plausible, possible. So these are types of stories that, for example, are backed up with the data based on your research, and you found out the story is false. So a truth meter will be good because it can be gauged to show that what was said or what was not said is actually truth or false.
Have you ever used a truth meter, and what was the outcome?
Yes, I've used a truth meter before. I was working under Pesa Check in Code for Africa, and for this we used to work with stories that were coming in from either budgets, allocation, and we were trying to see, is it true that our leaders and our political leaders have allocated the correct funds that they are saying in particular counties, in particular projects. So we would use this data to use a truth meter. So a truth meter, as the designer in this part, I could use a truth meter and additional graphical elements to show that what was said is true or what was said was false. And I could take the truth meter and adjust it to the side of truth if it's true, or adjust it to the side of false if it's false. So a truth meter was a very key element for such stories because they were for verification under the Pesa Check organization.
What is word cloud in data journalism?
Okay, a word cloud is a place where you can create words that are used in a current season or a current trendy topic to show which word was heavily or emotionally used and trending for public at that time. I have given examples before, such as COVID, protest, like the Gen Z protest. You could see the highly used words in Gen Z protest was Ruto must go. So this one was highly used, and it could be the bold, to show that this was the word that really impacted information and emotions about people and how they felt about their current regime.
Why is it important in a story?
Word cloud is important because it gives the audience an understanding of where people are at a particular season and time, and what they really wanted to come out of their entire campaign or the entire event.
What does the data training adds to the portfolio of a journalist?
So number one, data journalism is like a toolkit. It can be used as a toolkit to enhance a journalist's portfolio, because it shows that the journalist, first of all, is equipped, number one, with tools that are currently used. They also take survey in processing their research and also curating data stories. So it is a very enhanced toolkit for journalists. It shows that this journalist actually makes their work easier by using proper research methods and proper design methods to bring out the best of their stories. How does this correlate with the nexus of health? Is that in health and mostly science stories, we have a lot of research that includes a lot of numbers. Now, this is where data journalism comes in, because with the data, we also need to communicate it in a way that is understandable not only to you as the journalist, but also to the layman audience who are reading your story. And to make this easier, we come up with a design of either a chart, a bar graph, a line graph, a heat map, to show the audience, this is what I'm trying to say with this data. I know you did not maybe understand how hard my statistics is, but this is what I'm trying to say with this data. I'm trying to bring out a design, I'm trying to bring out a graphic element. Sorry, if you're looking to do journalism and you're looking to be a journalist, my first advice will be like, be as open as possible in exploring as many tools as you can. Be also as open as possible to networking and going for events even beyond school, because this one prepares you for the future. Because when you are in a classroom, you don't know what's happening in the real world. You are practicing to be a journalist, yet you don't know what journalists are using, and you are being taught with the old books or the old methods. So I would advise student journalists to look for, a journalist can look for bodies such as the Media Council and other bodies that deal with journalism, such as the MESHA as well, and start collaborating with them, see where they can volunteer even, see where they can learn, and maybe attend such conferences for free even, where they can learn what is currently being used, so that as they're applying it in their studies, they see how in future they will be applying it in their work.
Finally, Eunice, have you reached the apex of data journalism training at personal level?
No, I've not reached, because as I go to bed today, someone will release a new software that I do not know, I have never used, and I might also take time learning. So the peak is not yet. But what I can say is no man is limited. The one who doesn't know can still know tomorrow. And even the one who is creating the new will still need to create a space for others to learn. So we can continue learning, and the mountain is not the peak.